Hello students, welcome to class 10th SST chapter 3 Nationalism in India. This is part 4. Children, as you know, you have studied about Khilafat movement and how Indians struggled for this movement and their participation and their contribution. And Mahatma Gandhi's appeal was so effective that people started do or die. Children, in this section we are going to discuss nationalism in India, that is towards civil disobedience movement, CDM in short form we can say. In this section we will try to discuss about Mahatma Gandhi's, you can say, policy in 1929 when Khilafat movement, that was, you can say, became violent, and after that, many people, they started struggling for the society and violence took place. Mahatma Gandhi realized that this type of violent activities is against his principle, that is non-violence, and he found that this violent activities should be removed, or these satyagrahis should be trained how to fight with the weapon of non-violence. So he felt the need of all these trainings, and he wanted to stop these violent activities. That's why he called off non-cooperation Khilafat movement. Children, as you know, the Congress leaders, they were also tired of mass agitation, mass movement, and they wanted some rest. And along with that, these peoples, they wanted to become you can say, they wanted to oppose provincial elections. They wanted some change in provincial election, and they thought that in provincial governments they wanted to show their status and wanted a change and wanted to compel British government to change its policy so that some constitutions under British dominion could be framed and it should be liberal for Indians. But it could not happen. C.R. Das and Pandit Motilal Nehru, they founded Swaraj, Hind Swaraj. So this was a association in which they wanted to organize all these peoples. But what happened? Congress government, especially our younger leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, they wanted that this movement should be more radical, it should be speeded up, and it should bring some result, and it should threaten British so that they give some result. So children, they felt some problems. Along with this, they realized the effect of worldwide economic depression. Indian economy was totally, you can say, was totally fed up with effect of worldwide economic depression. And with this depression, why this depression came? This depression came because of World War. Most of the countries, they became debted, and except a few countries, maximum countries, they had war loans. That's why their economy became weaker and weaker. It means the money could not percolate up to lower level. वो मनी जो ऊपर का था, लोन की वजह से गवर्नमेंट के फॉरेन एक्सचेंजेस ख़त्म हो चुके थे, जिसकी वजह से उनके ऊपर एक प्रेशर आ गया था. दे वर डिप्रेस्ड totally, and common people, they could not get money, and the result was that agricultural prices fell and countryside was in turmoil. Means when money will not come up to grassroots level, then what will happen? Who will purchase? Traders have no money, and the other peoples who are doing so, they are unable to purchase them at good rate. That's why prices was reduced, and once agricultural prices fell, then the input given by Indian farmers, that was more in front of its sale, then what will happen? They will suffer loss. So this created a turmoil condition, that is a depression in Indian agricultural activities. So due to this, most of the people who had taken interest in this movement, their attitude became negative day by day. Children, along with these national movements, in 1930 till 1930 this national movement ran, but British government found that India's such great movement, they are a threat or challenge to British administration, British economy. That's why to bring some change in constitution in India and make some administrative improvements, Tory government, the newly elected Tory government in Great Britain, they sent a statutory commission in the leadership of Sir John Simon. Children, you know very well, its aim was to study Indian condition, whether they are ready for being independent and hold constitution or not, or they wanted to make some changes. But major drawback was that in this Simon Commission, which arrived in 1928, it had not a single Indian member. Means in this commission, not even a single Indian member was adopted. That's why Indian top leaders, they realized that whatever policy would be made, that would be against Indians. So this was a situation of Simon Commission, and it was opposed by Congress and Muslim leagues. Children, one thing more I want to describe, that at this moment many top leaders, they had special effort. In Punjab, Lala Lajpat Rai, who suffered with a lathi charge, and he was died due to this condition, due to this situation. And this brought a great anger in Indians, common peoples, peasants, businessmen, traders, people living in town or people living in countryside. They became violent day by day, and this created a situation of violent activities. Along with this, Congress party, they were totally bored with this movement, and they thought that it should be more and more speedy. That's why they were divided into two parts. They were liberals and moderates, and liberals. In this manner, they were divided, and they wanted to bring this movement at great momentum. That's why they struggled, because they were younger leaders, they had no experience, and they could not realize the result of non-violence, because non-violence was really a great weapon, but it could not bring a quick result. So this created a situation of hefty, and people tried, all these top leaders, they wanted some fruitful results. Then in October 1929, what happened? Purn Swaraj was declared, and on 26 Jan 1930, complete independence was declared by Congress leaders, the part of moderates and liberals. They wanted full independence. Mahatma Gandhi realized this thing. That's why he found that it was important to take some another issue, so that this movement move at great momentum, and these liberals and moderates, they could be satisfied, and movement become more fruitful. That's why he selected a special commodity, salt. Children, Mahatma Gandhi realized that salt was that commodity which was consumed by both rich and poor, minority or majority section of societies. Everybody had consumed this salt and it was a necessity of our food. So he found that this issue could be more beneficial. So he realized this thing, and that's why he decided that he will attack on British policy using another rule, another movement, and he started the salt march, and his civil disobedience movement with this salt march became more fruitful. It gained high momentum and it showed its impact. Children, on 31 January 1931, Gandhiji sent a letter to Viceroy Irwin. In his letter, he told that I have 11 demands. You have to fulfill it. If you are failed to fulfill this demand, then we will start and launch civil disobedience movement and we will break salt law. And the day came. Irwin was reluctant. He was not interested in his demand. So at that time, Mahatma Gandhi was compelled to start salt march and launch civil disobedience movement. Children, what happened in this? By 11 March 1931, with 78 trusted volunteers, Mahatma Gandhi marched 240 miles. Just imagine. And he started his journey from his Sabarmati ashram and moved towards coastal village Dandi in Gujarat, where salt was manufactured by peoples living there. Children, they walked 24 days at 10 miles per day. Just imagine their speed, their stamina, how determination they had for the independence. And the people, they were totally convinced by Mahatma Gandhi's idea. His weapon of, you can say, non-violence, it became more effective and it reflect its momentum with this salt march and civil disobedience movement. Mahatma Gandhi reached there and he manufactured salt with his own hand, and he took some salt and took oath that from today we are going to break salt law. Not even a trader, not even people living in town nor in countryside, they will never pay tax on salt, because this coastal area is our part and we are manufacturing it. Then who are Britishers to take this tax? So Mahatma Gandhi's appeal was more effective and people became fully satisfied, and they tried to develop, you can say, full determination, and they tried to brought it a fruitful and whole British dominion. It was totally threatened after this, you can say, civil disobedience movement and salt break law. Children, what happened? Even the monarchy of Britain, they were totally shaken, and this huge momentum, it brought, you can say, and it started weakening the roots of British Empire in India. Children, this was a matter. On 5 March 1931, Gandhiji signed Irwin Pact. This was Irwin Pact because British were totally worried. They thought that if this salt march became successful and civil disobedience became successful, then it would be a challenge for us. So he signed a pact with Irwin, and Gandhiji consented to attend second round table conference, in which British monarchy decided to discuss with Mahatma Gandhi how to make negotiation. But Mahatma Gandhi reached in London in second round table conference, but negotiation was not fruitful. He became totally disappointed and he returned back to India, and he started again relaunching this movement. Children, now we will try to discuss how participants saw the movement. You know, many social groups of India, they took interest, especially Patidars of Gujarat and Jats of UP. These two social groups, they were commercial worker and their business was hard hit as they produced commercial crops, because it brought cash crop directly and their business, they were flourished. But what happened? Due to this movement, these groups, Patidars of Gujarat and Jats of UP, they were hard hit, and they found that it was because of harsh policy of British Empire. They are unable to, improve their business. So they also found that they could not pay revenue, because revenue was higher and their benefit were reduced. So what happened? They supported civil disobedience movement. They jumped in civil disobedience movement and followed Mahatma Gandhi's policy, and totally contributed financially, mentally, and themselves in this movement. And this struggle was against high revenue. Because of high revenue, these social groups, they came in struggle and started fighting with British Empire. So but Mahatma Gandhi in 1931 called off this movement, and it disappointed these social groups because they came in high momentum, but due to lot of violence and you can say untrained satyagrahis, Mahatma Gandhi thought that this movement will go in vain. So it disappointed these social groups, and the relationship between Congress and poors became uncertain, as they did not support no rent campaign. Many people, many peasants, they were working on landlord's field. They had to pay rent plus revenue, and that's why they started no rent campaign. Means they declared that we will not pay any rent because these are our fields. But Congress party, they did not take any interest in this case. Relationship between Congress and poors became uncertain. Children, along with this, business classes wanted protection against import of goods. The business sections, they wanted some protection against their goods, and that's why they struggled there. But this protection was not possible. That's why they organized Indian Industrial and Commercial Industries in 1920, and FICCI, that is Federation of the Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries. In 1927, they organized and made a huge association so that they could fight with commercial activities. And finally, this was because of their effort, and these people, they also took interest for this active, you can say this movement, and this movement gained momentum. But after some days, due to Congress parties, fully, you can say, they were associated with Hindu philosophy, and they were thinking about only majority, and along with that, minority classes, they were ignored. So all these businessmen, they thought that this cannot be more fruitful. Along with this, all these, once this movement was running, when Mahatma Gandhi called off this movement, then these people who participated in these groups, they were totally disappointed. Children, one thing more, I want to describe the another major feature of civil disobedience was that large participation of women. Most of the women of higher caste, high families, they who were economically stronger, they found that participation of women in national struggle was a noble cause, and they realized the call of Mahatma Gandhi, and they thought that their contribution could bring fruit for the nation. That's why they started struggling when shops were picketed, or when the various movements were there, women participated. Most of the women, they took part in Salt March, and most of the people, they also participated in various peasant movements. So the contribution of women is matter of appreciation for this movement. Children, this movement was really brought fruit, and it shaken the, you can say, roots of British territory in India. Let's discuss limits of civil disobedience movement. Children, civil disobedience movement was a nationwide movement, but it had many limitations. Why? It was because of most of the freedom fighters belonged to highly rich caste. Means you can say they were of advanced caste and rich families, and they had attitudes towards only Hindus and upper classes only. Children, Dalits, that is untouchables, that is Dalits or oppressed, these people, they were ignored by Congress, and Congress was formed by only top leaders. So this created a problem, and the momentum of civil disobedience movement, it felt resistance. मीन्स उसके रास्ते में रुकावटें आने लगी, और वो रुकावटें क्या थी कि जो हमारे दलित्स और ऑप्रेस्ड क्लास के लोग थे, दे वर टोटली डिसअपॉइंटेड, दे वर टोटली अनसेटिस्फाइड, एंड दे डोंट वांट to they could not fight with shoulder to shoulder because they were ignored by higher classes. मीन्स जो ऊंची जाति के लोग थे, उन्होंने डिप्रेस्ड क्लास को इग्नोर कर दिया था. महात्मा गांधी ने इस चीज़ को रियलाइज़ किया, एंड आफ्टर रियलाइजेशन ही टोल्ड एंड ही गेव दिस कम्युनिटी अ स्पेशल नेम, दैट इज़ हरिजन्स, द पीपल ऑफ गॉड. इनके स्टेटस को डिग्निफाई करने के लिए महात्मा गांधी ने एक कैंपेन स्टार्ट किया, एंड ही हिमसेल्फ स्टार्टेड क्लीनिंग टॉयलेट्स, so that the dignity of this untouchable or Dalits or oppressed, they should be restored for long, and the rich people, they should have some respect for them, because all these works, they belongs to mankind. He told that untouchability is a crime against man, humans and God. So people were, they had some, understandings, and most of the classes, they tried to understand. Even Muslims, they also understood, and they thought that depressed class peoples, means these Dalits, they should be, given justice. But it was the limitation of this civil disobedience movement that Dalit participation was limited, because they were ignored by top leaders, Congress leaders especially. So this was a major misfortune for civil disobedience movement. Children, Dr. BR Ambedkar, he organized Dalits into depressed class association in 1930. So after his organization, it was a, you can say, a relaxation. It was a special feeling among depressed classes that somebody is thinking, and they declared Dr. BR Ambedkar as his leader, and in his leadership Dr. BR Ambedkar demanded separate electorate. They put forward some questions in front of Congress party as well as the people who were struggling in civil disobedience movement. They questioned that if you don't want to give any respect to us and our works, and if you dislike us, then give us a separate constituency. We will make our own area and we will organize our election, we will make our constitution and we will run our government. Why, if you dislike us, if you don't like us, if you hate us, then we should be given a separate constituencies. And this issue became, a burning topic at that time, and British Empire, it found a opportunity to maintain this issue. So this issue was totally, you can say, felt by British Empire, and they found that, and they supported Dr. BR Ambedkar that yes, we are ready to give you separate constituencies. Why? Because they wanted to divide and rule in India. They thought that if these Dalits were divided, then Mahatma Gandhi's struggle or movement, it will weaken up. But Mahatma Gandhi realized this fact. That's why after demand of this separate constituency, Mahatma Gandhi began fast unto death. He was in jail and he started his campaign, and he told that I will keep fast until I die if BR Ambedkar does not withdraw his demand. So children, the result was Pune Pact of September 1932. Mahatma Gandhi thought that if these separate constituencies are made, then it will bring, you can say, it is a challenge for national integrity and unity. Every province, they will try to take separate constituency. Then where is a nation? Where is a nation state, that is India? It will be, you can say, go in vain. So Mahatma, but BR Ambedkar realized the condition, and he came to Mahatma Gandhi and he withdrew his, demand. But there was a condition. BR Ambedkar told that we are feeling disrespect in this country. Being of lower class, lower caste, we are not respected. It means there should be some provision. He told that they should be given reservation in provincial and central legislative council. Means he demanded that reservation should be given in provincial and central legislative councils. So children, this was a Pune Pact. Again, another minority class, that were Muslims, Islam religion. Children, these Muslims, they realized that Congress is not taking interest in them. All over, after Khilafat movement, after this large movement, Congress party members, they were reluctant. They had no interest in Muslim leaders, even in Muslim communities and Muslim problems. That's why there was a clash between Hindus and Muslims. Hindu Mahasabha was formed in the leadership of M.R. Jayakar. He organized Hindu Mahasabha, and the philosophy of Hindu was cultivated, and they tried to make Indian movement on account of Hindu philosophy. So here Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the head of Muslim League, he realized that our interests are not safe, minorities are not secure after independence. That's why he also put up a demand in front of Mahatma Gandhi that they should also be given, special reservation in various provinces where there is majority of Muslims. he gave his demand, and he realized that Muslims' interest would be protected when they are given special seats and special, you can say, constituencies and special councils. So Mahatma Gandhi became more disappointed, but the whole negotiation went in vain, means they were despaired, you can say. The process was so much, you can say, against, and the philosophy of Hindus and Muslims clashed. This created a problem, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he started opposing Mahasabha and his proposal, and Mr. M.R. Jaikar, he also told that we cannot share our views with Muhammad Ali Jinnah. This was one more, you can say, limitation of civil disobedience movement. Okay, thank you for watching this clip.